Picture this. You are sitting at your laptop. You're not doing anything interesting, maybe researching something a bit sensitive, maybe just browsing around, and then somewhere on a server you'll never see, a profile of you is being updated in real time. Your approximate location, what you were looking at 3 minutes ago, what that suggests about your habits, your interests, your next likely purchase. You didn't agree to this, you don't know it's happening, and closing the browser tab won't stop it. This is the normal state of the internet in 2026, and I think most people have quietly accepted it because the alternative sounds technical and complicated and inconvenient. It doesn't have to be, but, and this is where I want to be different from most videos on this topic, I'm not going to talk about privacy. I'm going to talk about something more specific and more powerful and almost always confused with it. Anonymity. Privacy means nobody can read what you're doing. Anonymity means nobody can connect what you're doing to you. They sound similar. They're not. A private conversation still has two identifiable participants. An anonymous one has none. Almost every private browser comparison misses this distinction completely. They measure whether a browser blocks tracking cookies, a privacy feature, and call it an anonymity score. That's like testing whether your curtains are thick enough and concluding your house is invisible. In this video, I want to talk specifically about browsers that make you genuinely harder to connect back to as a person. I'm counting down from number 7, the most practical, everyday option, all the way to number 1, where anonymity gets serious. And in the end, I'm going to name a few very popular browsers I think you should skip. Some of those recommendations might surprise you. I'm prepared for the comments. Let's start. What actually matters for anonymity? Before the countdown, let me tell you exactly how I'm judging this, because I want to be transparent about what I think matters and what I think the privacy community sometimes overweights. Fingerprint resistance is the core issue. Your browser exposes a unique combination of hardware signals, fonts, screen dimensions, graphic renderer, and dozens of other details that together make you identifiable, even if with cookies completely disabled. The EFF's Cover Your Tracks tool lets you test this right now on your own browser, and most people are genuinely surprised by what they see. And here's something worth understanding before we get into the list, because it changes how you evaluate every browser here. There are actually 3 fundamentally different schools of thought, let's say, on how to solve the fingerprint problem, and they lead to completely different tools. The first school says, make you invisible. Block the signals, strip the data, prevent websites from reading anything they shouldn't. This is the approach most traditional privacy browsers take. The second school says, make you look like everyone else. Don't try to hide. Instead, make your fingerprint identical to thousands of other users, so you disappear into the crowd. If everyone looks the same, no one can be singled out. The third school says, don't be you at all. Don't hide a fingerprint, don't blend it, replace it entirely with a different realistic identity per session. Each approach has different strengths, different weaknesses, and different tools. And by the end of this list, you'll have seen all 3 in action. IP and traffic anonymization is the second layer. Hiding your fingerprint while showing your real IP is only half a solution. How does the browser handle where your traffic actually comes from? Session isolation. Can your different browsing sessions be linked together? Can tabs leak data between each other? Does it disable WebRTC, which is the technology that famously exposes real IP addresses even through VPNs? Trust and track record. Is the code open source? Has it actually been audited, not just claimed to be private? How old is the project? And does the security community actually trust it? And usability. Because a browser that breaks half the web is not a practical tool for most people, and I think it's worth being honest about, rather than pretending it doesn't exist. Alright, countdown starts now. Number 7. Waterfox, the overlooked Firefox alternative. Perhaps the community spent a lot of energy debating Firefox versus LibreWolf. Almost nobody talks about Waterfox, which is, I think, a mistake. Waterfox is a Firefox fork that strips out telemetry, Pocket, data collection, and startup profiling, while keeping Firefox's full extensions ecosystem intact, including uBlock Origin, which still works completely on Firefox-based browsers after Chrome's policy changes broke it elsewhere. What makes Waterfox genuinely interesting is Oblivious DNS over HTTPs, a feature almost no other browser ships with by default. Normal encrypted DNS hides what you're looking up. Oblivious DNS hides who's asking by routing requests through a relay that removes your IP before it reaches the resolver. That's a real anonymity feature at the network level that most lists completely ignore. Container tabs are built in by default, keeping sessions isolated in the same window. The honest caveats: Waterfox was briefly acquired by an advertising company in 2019, which shook community trust. It returned to independent status in July 2023. Updates are slower than Firefox, which matters for security patches. And fingerprint protection doesn't reach the level of the more specialized anonymity browser further up this list. But as an underrated daily browser for everyday anonymity, Waterfox earns its spot. It's Firefox, but the version that decided to stop attending corporate network events. Number 6. Brave. Useful, flawed, honest about both. I have a somewhat complicated relationship with Brave's reputation in the privacy community. On one hand, it genuinely works. It blocks ads, trackers, and fingerprinting scripts out of the box. It's Chromium-based, so compatibility is near perfect, and extensions work. It's fast, and on privacytest.org's cross-session tracking test, which measured one specific but important dimension of anonymity, Brave has scored 143 out of 156 checks, placing it at the very top of all mainstream browser tested. Brave's fingerprinting defense uses a technique they call farbling, slightly randomizing the values your browser reports to fingerprinting scripts, so each session produces a different signature. This is the first school in action. Block and disrupt the signals. The idea is smart. Make your fingerprint inconsistent so it can be reliably tracked across sessions. Here's my honest critique. A research paper published at the ACM Web Conference 2025 found that farbling's randomization approach can be partially defeated statistically. An attacker who collects enough measurements can average out the noise and still identify you. The Brave team acknowledged this and said improvements were coming. For typical commercial tracking advertising networks, analytics companies, Brave is strong. For a sophisticated or targeted adversary, the gap between Brave's promise and delivery is real, and I think the community sometimes glosses over it. The other thing, the crypto reward system, the built-in wallet, the bad-talking ecosystem. These are opt-in, but they sit in the middle of a browser that markets itself on privacy, and there is a natural conflict between a business that wants you to engage with its ad ecosystem and a tool that's supposed to minimize what it knows about you. Brave is not the browser I'd recommend if anonymity is your primary goal, but it is the browser I'd recommend if you're coming from Chrome and want immediate, significant, practical improvement without changing your habits. It's Chrome, but with someone who actually cares about you in charge of the decisions. Number 5. Ungoogled Chromium. Chrome without the surveillance capitalism. This one barely appears in mainstream privacy browser discussions, and that's a shame, because Ungoogled Chromium makes a very specific, very honest promise and delivers on it completely. The project is exactly what the name suggests. It takes Google's open-source Chromium codebase and surgically removes every single integration with Google's ecosystem. Not reduced, not optional, removed. Google Sync, Google Cloud Messaging, Google URL Tracker, Google Hot Wording, the safe browsing connection to Google servers, background telemetry, all of it gone. According to the project's own GitHub documentation, all runtime connections to Google Web Services are blocked entirely during normal use. What you are left with is a browser that feels exactly like Chrome, runs exactly like Chrome, has near-perfect website compatibility, but doesn't have a phone-home relationship with Google. Not a reduced one, not a configured down one, none. This is particularly valuable for users who need Chromium compatibility. Developers, people testing web apps, users whose work tools only properly support Chrome-based environments, but don't want to be part of Google's data ecosystem while doing it. Now, the trade-offs are real and worth naming. Ungoogled Chromium doesn't add significant privacy protections on top of removing Google connections. It starts from a privacy-neutral Chromium baseline, not a hardened one. You'll want to configure additional flags and install extensions like uBlock Origin separately. And extensions installation requires a few extra steps because it doesn't connect to the Chrome Web Store automatically. Updates are also manual. No auto-update mechanism, which means you need to stay on top of security patches yourself. It's not for everyone, but for the technically confident user who wants Chrome's engine without Chrome's tracking, this is the most honest tool in this specific category. The project is fully open source, actively maintained, and does exactly what it says. Nothing more, nothing less. Brave strips Google's tracking and adds its own things. Ungoogled Chromium just strips Google's tracking, no additions, no agenda, no cryptocurrency, just a browser that minds its own business. Number 4. One Browser. Serious anonymity for free. Before I explain why One Browser is interesting, I need to briefly explain a category of tool that most people have never heard of because it's what makes this one unusual. There is a type of browser called an antidetect browser. It's the third school of anonymity applied in practice. Instead of hardening one browser identity, you create multiple completely separate ones. Each profile gets its own fingerprint, its own cookies, its own session data, its own IP through a paired proxy. From the outside, each profile looks like a different person on a different device in a different location. Not hidden, replace. This is a fundamentally different approach to anonymity than anything else on this list so far, and it's almost exclusively available in paid. Professional tools typically cost $20 to $50 a month before you've even opened them. One Browser is the exception. It's an anti-detect browser with a genuinely free tier up to 20 isolated profiles with built-in proxy integration included, no time limit, no subscription required. And independent reviews at crossbrowser.org found that One Browser profiles best device fingerprint checkers even with free proxies, surprising for a free tool, their words. Profile launches happen in under 2 seconds. The interface is deliberately familiar, built to look and feel like regular Chrome, which means there is almost no learning curve. The honest picture, One Browser is newer, which means a shorter trust track record than more established tools in this category. Deep fingerprint customization for edge cases isn't there yet. And free proxies are basic for serious use. Pairing with better residential proxies makes a meaningful difference. Independent testing found One Browser maintained consistent fingerprints under repeated testing with no canvas mismatches, no WebGL conflicts, and no WebRTC leaks. Results that many paid tools don't reliably deliver. The category of tool itself, an anti-detect browser, is something I'll go much deeper on higher up this list, where we get into the serious version of this approach. But for getting started with real identity separation at no cost, nothing else here offers that. It's Chrome, but every profile is completely different with a person who has never heard of the others, which, if you think about it, is a genuinely useful property. Number 3. Mullvad Browser. The crowd hiders. Here's where we cross from good privacy into serious anonymity architecture. Mullvad Browser was built by Mullvad VPN in direct collaboration with the Tor project, the same team behind Tor Browser. The Tor project announced this partnership officially and described the goal clearly: Tor Browser's anti-fingerprinting technology without routing traffic through the Tor network. The result is faster while keeping most of the browser-level protections intact. The philosophy here is what I found genuinely interesting, and it's the second school of anonymity in its purest form. Rather than randomizing your fingerprint or hiding it, Mullvad tries to make your fingerprint identical to every other Mullvad user. Same reported screen dimensions, same fonts, same configuration. If tens of thousands of users share one fingerprint, any individual in that crowd becomes impossible to pick out. Letterboxing enforces this. As you resize the window, the content snaps to standardized dimensions and fills gaps with gray margins. Your exact window size, which is surprisingly unique, never gets exposed. The critical caveat I want to be direct about: Mullvad handles the browser fingerprint side, but it does nothing about your IP address. Without a separate VPN, your traffic route to every server you visit is completely visible. Mullvad themselves say this openly. The browser is one half of an anonymity stack, not the whole thing. The usability cost is real. Captcha loops, broken logins, streaming services that don't cooperate. It triggers aggressive bot detection system because it looks unusual to them. Some sites simply don't work. That's not a criticism, it's the honest price of serious anti-fingerprinting. But it means Mullvad works best as a dedicated tool for specific sensitive sessions, not as your own browser for everything. Paired with a trustworthy VPN, Mullvad Browser is one of the most serious fingerprint anonymity options available. Without one, you're wearing an excellent disguise while carrying your actual ID. Number 2. Tor Browser. Tor Browser is the most serious anonymity technology available to regular people. Full stop. Everything else on this list is making trade-offs that Tor doesn't make. I think that deserves to be said plainly. Here's what Tor actually does. Your traffic gets wrapped into multiple layers of encryption, like an onion, and routed through at least 3 volunteer-operated servers worldwide. Each relay builds one layer and passes it forward. The first relay knows your IP, not your destination. The last relay knows your destination, not your IP. No single point in the chain ever has both. This is called onion routing, and it has been studied, tested, and relied upon by people in genuinely high-stakes situations for over 2 decades. On top of that, Tor Browser is a hardened Firefox with aggressive anti-fingerprinting. All users share in the same standardized configuration. You don't just get network anonymity, you get browser-level anonymity stacked on top of it. With around 2.7 million daily users as of 2024, this is not niche software. Investigative reporters protecting sources, human rights workers in countries with oppressive internet surveillance, researchers keeping their work identity blind. These are documented, real use cases, not hypotheticals. For ordinary people facing ordinary threats, commercial tracking, data brokers, surveillance advertising, Tor is overkill in the best possible way. The honest trade-offs is speed. Tor is slow. 3 relays across the globe adds latency that enthusiasm cannot compensate for. Many websites block Tor, resulting in captures or outright walls. Tor is not your daily driver for checking the news and shopping online. It's your tool when anonymity genuinely matters. Using Tor to watch YouTube is like arriving at the corner shop in an armored vehicle. The vehicle is excellent, the journey takes 3 times as long, and they still won't let you inside without a captcha. Number 1. Gologin, arguably best anonymous browser. Gologin doesn't belong in the same conversation as the other browsers here. It belongs above that conversation. Every other browser on this list is solving the same problem differently. How do we make you harder to track? Gologin asks a different questions entirely. What if instead of being hard to track, simply weren't you at all? This is the antidetect browser model, and it represents a fundamentally different approach to anonymity. Instead of hardening your single identity, you create multiple separate identities, each with its own fingerprint, its own cookies, its own session, its own IP, routing through a paired proxy. To the websites you visit, each profile is a completely distinct human being on a completely distinct device in a completely distinct location. According to Gologin's own documentation, each profile configures over 53 fingerprint parameters: operating system, browser version, screen resolution, WebGL renderer, canvas fingerprint, audio context, fonts, time zone, language. These are the exact signals fingerprinting systems use. All of them replaced per profile, not hidden or randomized. Compare this directly to the alternatives. Tor hides your IP through its network, but every Tor user shares a recognizable Tor browser fingerprint. And many sites block it on site. Mullvad makes everyone look identical to each other. Clever, but there's still one shared fingerprint to flag. A VPN changes your location and leaves everything else exactly as it was. Gologin gives you a different, realistic, consistent identity per profile. Not hidden, not blended, replaced. Run dozens of profiles simultaneously. None can be linked to each other, none to you. Cloud-based storage means your identities travel with you between devices. Trustpilot reviewers specifically call this out as a standout feature, with users describing switching from managing multiple separate computers to running everything from one place. The honest trade-offs. Gologin is commercial and not fully open source, which matters if auditable code is non-negotiable for you. And if you just want casual, private browsing, Gologin is genuinely more than you need. But for identity-level anonymity, appearing not just as an untrackable person, but as a completely different person, nothing else on this list competes. Most tools give you a disguise. Gologin gives you a new passport, a new face, and a new address, which is either reassuring or slightly alarming, depending entirely on whether you are the one using it. Now that we've covered what works, let's talk about what doesn't, because knowing what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to use. Here are 4 browsers I'd steer clear of if anonymity is your priority. Let's keep it short and direct. Google Chrome. Google's business model is advertising. Chrome is how they collect the data that funds it. A 2024 Surfshark analysis found Chrome collects 24 different types of personal data from mobile users, the highest of any browser tested. You are not the customer, you are the inventory. Microsoft Edge. Chrome's privacy problem in a different corporate wrapper. Extensive telemetry to Microsoft servers, newsfeed, and shopping suggestions designed to profile your behavior. Deep Microsoft account integration. Same fundamental issue, different logo. AdsPower. In January 2025, attackers replaced AdsPower's cryptocurrency wallet extension with backdoored version, undetected for 3 days, and stole approximately $4.7 million in user funds. For a tool sold entirely on the premise of security, having your own distribution channel compromised is a hard trust problem to come back from. Firefox. Yes, really, I know, Firefox is good software, but out of the box, it's built around a deal with Google that accounts for around 85% of Mozilla's revenue. Google pays to be the default search engine. That's not a neutral arrangement for a browser that claims to prioritize your independence. You can harden Firefox, but at that point you are manually rebuilding what Waterfox already ships, so use the fork, not the original. Okay, here's the full countdown cleanly. If you want Firefox ecosystem stripped of Mozilla's compromises, Waterfox is generally underrated and worth trying. Just escaped from Chrome and want something immediately better? Brave. Done. No configuration, no philosophy required. Want Chrome's edging without Google's fingerprints in it? Ungoogled Chromium. Just be ready to spend 15 minutes setting it up. Want to try identity-level anonymity without spending anything? One browser gets you there for free. Care about fingerprinting at a serious level and already have a VPN? Mullvad, and yes, the VPN is mandatory, not optional. When something sensitive is genuinely at stake, Tor. No debate, no compromise, just Tor. And when you need to be not just anonymous, but a completely different person entirely, Gologin with clean proxies and proper setup is the only tool on this list built for exactly that. And yes, Gologin is number 1 on this list. It is the logical conclusion of everything we've just walked through. If you genuinely need identity-level anonymity, Gologin is simply the most capable tool available. It handles what no traditional browser even attempts. It's not overkill, it's the right tool when the stakes are real. But here's the honest part. Gologin is built for people who know what they need. It requires proxies, profile thinking, and at least a basic understanding of what antidetect means. For someone trying to stop advertisers from following them around with shoe ads, it's like hiring a security team to protect a garden shed. Impressive, but perhaps slightly excessive. So the actual answer is match the tool to the threat. The mistake almost everyone makes is picking one browser and treating it as the whole answer. It never is. Real anonymity is layered: a hardened browser, a trustworthy VPN, thoughtful habits, and the right tool for the right moment. There is no single solution, there is only the right combination for what you are actually trying to do. Look, I'm aware this is a more opinionated take than most browser videos. The Firefox call in particular is going to land differently for different people. But I'd rather give you my honest read than repeat the same safe consensus list that doesn't actually help you make a decision. Anonymity isn't a product you buy, it's a practice you build. The right browser is one layer. A good VPN, clean proxies, thoughtful behavior, those are the others. Tell me in the comments, do you agree with putting Firefox on the skip list? Do you think I've ranked this wrong? I genuinely want to hear it. And if this was useful, like, subscribe, the usual. See you in the next one.